Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast, where you don't have to be oh my goodness, I'm messing up. Where you can be a Cowboys fan, but it sure does not help. I am one of your hosts, Ryan, and yes, we do have a guest this week. We have Na'Sean Deplante on this week of the CR7 podcast. Na'Sean, say what's up to the people.
What's up?
All right. We have a great edition for this podcast for you guys, and I mean it on this one. Today we'll be running down the Philadelphia 76ers, as the Philadelphia Eagles did have a bye week this week, so we will be talking about the Sixers. Also, I got a problem with the Big Ten. We'll be talking about that as well. More news in the NFL. I'm asking, can the Jets be a playoff team? That question will be answered. Cole will be grading the NFL trade deadline and all those trades, how they went down. The trade deadline passed a few weeks ago, but still the deals are working out in full circle. And some MLB news. I'm going to be talking about Shohei Ohtani, the biggest free agent we have seen in a very long time. Where is he going to end up? Cole's also going to be talking about some big free agent predictions that he does have. Also, I have to redo my MVP list, Sully's top 5. We're bringing Sully's top 5 to the CR7 podcast. We'll be talking about my top 5 NFL MVP candidates at this current moment in time. And to wrap up the podcast, we have the Eagles predictions versus the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football. But we'll get into that in just a second. Cole, say what's up to the people, man. It is the newest edition of the CR7 podcast. Let's go.
How's it going, everybody? It's good to be back. We got a great episode planned for you guys. And, I'm happy to be back in the studio.
You want to know something that I'm pretty upset about?
What?
That feeling, that thing where, you want to do something when you get home after school, but then you keep forgetting to do it, and then the next morning you just don't remember that you had to do it? Do you remember, do you feel that feeling? Do you ever have that feeling?
A little bit. I don't know. Na'Sean, you got anything on that?
I mean, yeah, homework. You forget to do your homework sometimes, so.
I feel you, and I just wanted to bring this up on the podcast because it's making me upset. I keep forgetting to put loose leaf paper in my Latin binder. I'm very upset about it, and I want to talk about it on the podcast. I just had to bring that up real quick. Maybe it's a little bit off topic, but I don't care. Moving on, we're talking about the Philadelphia 76ers. Cole, talk about the Sixers. How have they been doing? They're 8-1 on an 8-game win streak. Talk about it for me.
I mean, it's just been great all around. 8-game win streak. You can't ask for much better. They only lost by 1 to the Bucks, and we've seen what they've added to their roster. It's not as deep as previous years, but they added Damian Lillard, to pair along with Giannis. Maybe get a new duo going other than Drew Holiday, who they needed on defense. I think they lost a lot of key defense that they once had. Jay Crowder, he was a decent defender, but yeah, the fact that we lost by 1, it gave me hope. And then 8-game win streak, you can't ask for much more. Maxi's been incredible. I think he's an all-star. And Embiid, another MVP caliber season. It's really been a great sight. And, we've needed this in Philly. So, yeah.
I think the Sixers right now can really compete for a championship.
And I agree, especially since they got rid of Harden.
But here's the thing. It's not just because of Harden. And I might touch on Harden a little bit. It's because our roster is how you construct a roster in the NBA. A way you construct the roster is how the Nuggets pretty much did it last year. You get your superstar player. You get your other all-star who averages 20 points per game. Then you get your other pieces around you. You get a guy that is an enforcer. You get some shooting. You get guys who can drive to the basket. Sixers have all that. When you look at their roster right now, you obviously have your superstar in Joel Embiid. You have your 20-point-per-game scorer, honestly looking like he's going to average 50 for all we know. Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris is stepping up his game, averaging 19 points per game. We have to do it. We do pray over here at the CR7 podcast for Kelly Oubre Jr. with the broken ribs. It is, a hard thing for him to go through. DeAnthony Melton's still very consistent as always. Batum shooting really well from the three-point line. Paul Reed bringing that energy that we need. Robert Covington, he can drive to the basket really well. Korkmaz is getting some minutes, same with House and Beverly. We like that. We all like to see them.
I love Korkmaz.
Cole's a big fan of Korkmaz. I'm not the biggest fan of Korkmaz, but Na'Sean, you are coming off as the newest guest of the CR7 podcast. You got to bring the energy to this one. Let's go.
Oh, man. So, no, I haven't been staying up to sports lately. But,
you're good. You're good.
Right now, the Sixers being 8-1 right now, I think that's good. I think we could go to the championship this year, and for our only loss being to the Bucks, and us losing by 1 point, that's pretty good, because like the Bucks, they got a couple of key players on their squad, and I think we did good against them.
Answer me this question. Right now, where are the Sixers at? Where do you see them at in the Eastern Conference? Do you see them as the top contender, or do you see them as a team that's kind of below the Bucks and the Celtics right now?
I see them being like a top contender right now.
All right.
Like I see them like probably like number 2 or number 3.
Okay, got it. All right. Now, I think Cole, you have anything else you want to say about Sixers? All right. We got to talk about the Big Ten. I'm tired of hearing about Jim Harbaugh. This Jim Harbaugh thing. Why are Michigan allowed in the college football playoffs when you have a cheating scandal going on? Like, take it this way. If there was a problem at any workspace in this world, does you guys think that they would be allowed in their workspace if, there was some sort of problem going on? Yes, no?
Absolutely not. I think it's an issue, and especially we've seen this happen in other we saw Henry Ruggs. He lost because crime is a thing, and it's a big thing that comes into play with athletes of high caliber, and we've seen it before, and we've seen it now again with Jim Harbaugh.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. If there is an investigation going on, why are you allowed in a workspace like that? You are cheating, and I don't normally talk about issues that happen off the field because that's none of my business. But when it comes to on the field, I have to talk about it. Who is this guy going to games trying to get signs for the other team? Now, I'm not saying that you can't go get signs from other teams because everybody does it. I know people are tired of hearing that. But here at the Prep, we watch people's film, and then we base some part of our defense on that week based on the way that their personnel lines up. Na'Sean, you play football with me. Doesn't it work like that?
Yeah.
So it's not that that's not allowed. What I'm saying is not allowed is that you can't go to other people's games and look at their signs and then all of a sudden have an unfair advantage. If the Big Ten sees that the Michigan Wolverines have an unfair advantage over teams, why are they allowed in the college football playoffs and robbing a team that is not as popular, like a Florida State, like a Oregon, like a Washington, out of millions of dollars, just so they can have an unfair advantage? It makes no sense to me. You guys have any thoughts on this?
I think they shouldn't just steal their signs. They should just watch better film and be better players. And stealing signs, that's not a good way to play football.
Well, here's where I'm going to challenge you on that. It's not the players' fault. It's just all the coaching. The players are, playing the game based off what the coaches give them. How are they supposed to know that the coaches are going out and getting signs from other teams? That's where I'm going to challenge you on that. But at the end of the day, I'm glad that coach got fired. I believe he did, didn't he? I think so. But Michigan should not be allowed in the college football playoffs. They should not be allowed in a bowl game and rob teams out of millions of dollars, potential millions of dollars, just because they have an unfair advantage over teams. Well, we're going to move on more towards the NFL. Cole, you want to talk about this trade deadline for a bit now. Talk about all these trades, grade them, and talk about some of these teams going forward.
All right, so the first trade I wanted to touch on is Bills getting Rasul Douglas and a 2024 fifth-round pick for Packers 2024 third-round pick. I think this is a really good trade for the Green Bay Packers. They get rid. Rasul Douglas is decent, but they have Jair Alexander. They have that superstar caliber on defense, and 2024 third. You can get a solid, offensive player, maybe to fit around Jordan Love. You can really get, offensive weapon with a third-round pick. Next up, Donovan Peoples-Jones to the Lions for a 2025 sixth-round pick. Great trade by the Lions. They need depth at the wide receiver position. I think this is a great trade for them. I'll give it a B-. Next up, Niners. Chase Young, I mean, nothing really to say about this. Washington got a third-round pick. I mean, this really isn't a great trade at all for Washington. I mean, Nick Bosa and Chase Young, they are just, I mean, unstoppable duo. I mean, maybe this team can stop the tush push. I mean, 49ers automatic A grade. Yeah, I mean, you can't really ask for much more. Josh Dobbs to Minnesota and a conditional 7th-round pick for a 2024 6th-round pick. This is a steal for the Minnesota Vikings. They need a starting QB, and we saw in the last 2 weeks Josh Dobbs helping them to 2 wins. I mean, just a great job overall by the Vikings front office. Moving on, Montez Sweat. I mean, the Commanders are looking like they're going to rebuild. I mean, but they did get a 2nd-round pick for Montez Sweat. It's not a horrible trade for the Commanders, but Bears, they get to stack up. They get their defense. Hopefully, they can do something with the top 2 picks. Maybe they can, work out a trade or something to make it, worthwhile. Another big trade, Leonard Williams to the Seahawks. They're beefing up the defense. I mean, for a 2nd and a 5th, I mean, this is a great trade for them. I mean, beefing up the defense. They already have a great defense in general with, Tariq Woolen and stuff. Ryan, do you want to touch on something?
I did. With this trade, I think this Giants really got a steal more than the Seahawks did, because if you look, Leonard Williams is getting older, and based off of how many great offenses there is in the NFL right now and how quarterbacks can get the ball out really quickly, we're looking at Brock Purdy, we're looking at Jalen Hurts, we're looking at Tua Tagovailoa, we're looking at guys like that who can get the ball out really, really quickly. That pass rush is, I don't want to say you don't need it, but it's really becoming less useful in my opinion because of the fact that quarterbacks get the ball out of their hands really quickly.
I agree. Next up, big trade here. Kevin Byard to the Eagles for Terrell Edmonds, a 5th and a 6th. Great trade by the Eagles. They upgrade their secondary. They've been needing to do that. You got Reed Blankenship. Now you can add with Kevin Byard. That's 2 huge trades in the last 2 years by the Eagles on the Titans. Mecole Hardman back to the Chiefs for a 6th and a 7th. I mean, I don't really care about this trade, but I mean, obviously they need better receivers. Van Jefferson to the Falcons, maybe they can get Oladme Zaccheaus, type player like they had last year, a couple 100 yards. Chase Claypool to the Dolphins, great trade for the Dolphins. They can, I don't know if it's a great trade because they already have Robbie Chosen. Sorry, I almost said Anderson.
Who knows?
Yeah, J.C. Jackson to the Patriots, it's all right. I just don't really have much on that. And then the Vikings, another great trade. Cam Akers in a 7th for a 6th-round pick. They can just flip that for Cam Akers. I know he's out, but, they have him in the future. Na'Sean, you want to touch on any of these trades?
Yeah, so 2 trades that I see. The Washington Commanders trading away their 2 DNs. And I think that wasn't really a good decision because they only got 2nd and 3rd-round pick. And, if for them to trade them away, I would have looked for something better. And because they're 2 key players for their defense, and they help them stop the run a lot and the pass rush. So I don't think that was a smart move for them.
And I completely agree because that helped them stop the Eagles multiple times. And, they just traded away basically their entire defense pretty much behind the former 2nd overall Montez Sweat.
All right, I do have a developing story before I move into the Jets. 2-time All-Star Zach LaVine and the Chicago Bulls have increasingly had openness for a trade per Shams Charania of The Athletic. Before I jump into the Jets real quick, Cole, give me some potential suitors for Zach LaVine if the Bulls do go forward with a trade.
The first team that came to my mind is Sixers. Even though they are doing incredible, they could add another guy, with the absence of Kelly Oubre. Maybe they can bring in a guy like LaVine, have Oubre, play the 3 maybe, get rid of Melton. he can be like 6 man off the bench. But I mean, the most suitable team for him, I think, would probably be the Memphis Grizzlies.
It's not a bad idea.
Because, they don't have Ja for that long. I think he could fill that role. They started off, not that strong. Maybe, him, Morant. I mean, is Levine on the end of his contract?
No, he just re-signed a few.
Just re-signed,
last
okay.
off-season.
So, yeah, I mean, they could have potential there, create Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Zach LaVine, and, eventually Jaren Jackson Jr., and I think they could build a little dynasty, kind of.
I'm going to challenge you a little bit on the Sixers thing. I don't disagree with you with Memphis because I think that they are kind of in desperate need right now because the West is so stacked. But I'll challenge you on the Sixers because the Sixers look so good without him. Why would you really need him? Like, the Sixers don't end up winning a championship and they still want to pursue trying to win one because of the development of Tyrese Maxey, then maybe trading for Zach LaVine would be in their best interest. But for right now, I don't think it's in their best interest because if you look at teams like the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks, we're going to have concerns about them going into the playoffs because of their lack of depth. And I think that would be the same thing with the Sixers if they traded most of, if not all, their depth for Zach LaVine. And, it doesn't work out. It's really looking the same way with the Clippers. They traded all their depth for James Harden, and nobody moves without the ball. I mean, if you literally look at the Clippers' floor, it looks like just four guys just absolutely doing nothing while they just watch the whole game. Anyway, moving on to the New York.
Wait. Na'Sean, do you want to touch on a team that you think?
Like NBA team right now.
Yeah, like for Zach LaVine.
For Zach LaVine, yeah, I think he could go to the Sixers because he's like an athletic type of guy and like he can really dunk well, and so I think he could go there. He could help us out a little bit, and like as you said for Kelly Oubre, like have him play the three and stuff like that would work well. I think.
All right, so after that, a little bit of a developing story, got off topic there, but we are going to get back on topic with the New York Jets. The New York Jets currently right now, I don't know, they are in the playoff race, if that's what you really want to call it. They recently lost to the Las Vegas Raiders, who have a change of culture, bringing in Antonio Pierce. But, I'll start this off really quick with the New York Jets, and I'm just going to say they can be a playoff team. I really do believe that, but they need better quarterback play. Zach Wilson needs to improve. And now the trade deadline over, well, that's a bit of a problem, and, apparently free agent all-star Carson Wentz is signed for a new team, so that's out of the way there. But Zach Wilson needs to be better when it comes to playing game of football. I mean, Jesus. I mean, the man doesn't seem to know when to throw the football. He can't read a defense. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And they're on a 2-game losing streak currently, barely beat the New York Giants. But this team has an all-world defense currently. If you look at their defense right now, Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams, this other guy, Quincy Williams, the brother of Quinnen Williams, he's really emerging as a top talent for the New York Jets right now. When you look at their defense, in the last few games, the Las Vegas Raiders, 16 points. I can get behind it. Their offense isn't too good, but I'll let it slide. The Chargers, 27 points. What can you do? If the offense was a little better, maybe they could have held them and had some momentum. The New York Giants, 10 points. The Philadelphia Eagles, one of the best offenses in the NFL and currently only have one loss, 14 points. The Denver Broncos, 21. Kansas City Chiefs, 23. New England Patriots, 15. Dallas Cowboys, 30. Can't really get behind that. And the Buffalo Bills, 16 points. So, when you look at the New York Jets defense, you can tell they have an all-world defense, but they just have to be better offensively, and I'll get into that in just a few moments.
And a lot of these games are winnable games. I mean, you see them holding the best teams in the league to, under, 3 touchdowns, and that's something that, playoff and even Super Bowl contenders, want from their defense. That's something that the Eagles need. They've been giving up like 20 plus to the Commanders and like some, not that great teams. And, you look at the Jets defense and you think they should not be where their record is right now.
You are honestly right. 4-5. I mean, but here's the problem. I mean, the offensive line is so beat up that they really can't do anything. Like, Zach Wilson really does not have that much time in the pocket. And when he's giving the ball off to Brees Hall and guys like that, defenses can literally just stack the box and see it coming because of the fact that they can't pass the ball too well because one, Zach Wilson apparently can't read a defense and can't throw too well. And the second reason that, well, there is really no second reason. But anyway, Na'Sean, can you touch on this for me real quick? Where do you see the Jets right now? Do you see them making the playoffs?
The Jets, I see they could have made the playoffs this year if Aaron Rodgers hadn't got injured. And, Zach Wilson, he does need to improve a little bit. He's been in the league too long for him to be, not doing well with the team he has right now. Because his defense, is backing him up most of the game. And, for them to be doing all that work and him and his O-line not being able to do nothing, that's kind of upsetting for their team.
I do. I actually really like your point on the fact that the defense is just pretty much carrying them the entire game because the Jets defense gave the Jets offense way too many opportunities to go down the field and potentially win the game and potentially get a lot of momentum. But unfortunately for them, they just I don't know what I really can't make do of their problem on offense other than the quarterback and a little bit of the offensive line. I just don't understand what the New York Jets can do. But I do. But this is kind of my main topic. Will Aaron Rodgers come back? I don't think he should come back because coming off a torn Achilles, I don't care what type of surgery you have, there is no way you can come back from that in 3 to 4 months and be fully healthy. It makes absolutely no sense to me. But Cole, I do want to get you in here real quick. Do you think Aaron Rodgers should come back, and what do you think his timeline is right now?
I think he should come back if they make it past the first round in the playoffs because I think he will be close to 100%. I think his surgery was mind-blowing. I mean, similar to Bryce Harper, he was back within a couple months. And, we've just been seeing this more and more recently. These new doctors and new medicines, they just get players better quicker. Hey, Sean, you got anything on this?
If he does decide to come back, I just hope he doesn't get hurt again and that he could step up for Zach Wilson and help the Jets actually be make a good playoff run and hopefully make it to the Super Bowl maybe, but they'll lose probably. So, well, they won't make it because the Eagles and stuff. But, yeah.
The Eagles your Super Bowl winner right now?
Right now, probably, yeah, they might be.
Okay, I got you. All right. Well, now we're going on to the MLB. We haven't talked about the MLB in a while now. But
we have not because the season's over.
I know, but we're going into MLB free agency fast and furious. Cole, talk to me about free agency. Predict some of these free agency signings. Where are the bigger free agents going to go this offseason?
So I know you got Shohei Ohtani, but I'm gonna leave that one to you. I'll let you know my opinion on him a little bit later. But I mean, first off, Cody Bellinger. I think he'll go 12 years, $264 million. But I mean, I think he's gonna go to the Giants, and because the Giants need a home run hitter. I mean, you saw him, a year before. They have that ability to win 100 games. We saw that, and I think their starting pitching is decent. Not a great face from Ryan. To my right.
I'll say I agree. I originally was thinking no. I was thinking a contending team because that's where he is in his career. But I don't disagree with you. I agree with you in the end because they just got rid of Gabe Kapler, and we all know my opinions on Gabe Kapler. I cannot stand the man. I don't think he is a manager in the MLB. But I'll let you move on to your next man.
Next up, we got one of the most hyped international players yet, Yamamoto. I think he'll get 200 plus.
$200 million already?
I think he'll get 200 million plus.
Oh, okay.
He's been incredible. I mean, if you watch film, you know what I'm talking about. He's gonna go to the Yankees, man. I mean, just like Ichiro. I mean, I think it'll kind of be just like that. Similar. I mean, not really similar backstory because Ichiro was kind of that guy before that.
I guess.
But I mean, I just think, he could really do well with them. they need the starting pitching. They've really only had Garrett Cole last year. I mean, they did have Frankie Montas. They did have those other guys, but I think he would really do good with them. Next up, I got Blake Snell. I think he'll get exactly $200 million over 7 years. But I think he might. I think he might go. I know you're not gonna like this. I think he'll go to the Phillies. I know you really don't like that because he walks too many people. I mean, he was Cy Young caliber.
Give me a reason. Give me a reason first, and then I'll see if I can challenge you.
I don't think we're gonna get Nola back. I don't think we are going to get Hoskins back. So
I don't think we're getting Hoskins back. I agree with that.
I think Nola will.
You think Nola's gonna leave? I don't think they're gonna let him.
I think Nola's gonna leave. My next point. I think he's going to the Cardinals.
No.
I think he's going to the Cardinals.
Phillies are gonna. How much do you think he's gonna get?
Probably like 140.
I think he'll get $100 million. I think he played too bad in the regular season for that to happen. Snell. If the Phillies don't get Nola back, then they should really pursue Snell and give him make him their big free agent signing.
I think one more thing on Snell. If the Dodgers don't sign Ohtani, I think they go out and get Snell. Because we saw what Kershaw did in the playoffs.
They'll go out to get
their
Snell.
starters were just absolutely atrocious.
You see, I'm going to challenge you on the Nola thing because I don't think teams are going to be willing to give him $140 million, and he's going to come back to the Phillies looking for $100 million, and they're going to give it to him. I don't even know if teams are going to give him above $100 million.
Na'Sean, what do you think about Aaron Nola? Do you think he'll go back to the Phillies?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really keep up with baseball. But,
I got you.
What position is he?
Pitcher.
Oh, pitcher. Is he the one that threw the no hitter?
No, that was Michael Lorenzen. Actually, I think the Phillies should bring him back. But moving on.
Yeah, they should bring back the Michael Lorenzen guy. Because for him to throw that no hitter and it was how many something years since it happened?
Yeah, it was
a while ago, and that he made history for the Phillies. So I think that'd be good to bring him back.
One more thing before we head over to Ryan. Jordan Montgomery, I think he will get a bag, and I think he's going to get re-signed by the Rangers. And I think they also bring in Josh Hader. They get a big closer, something they've pretty much needed. They've got Aroldis Chapman, but he's too old, I think. And I think Josh Hader would fit great on the World Series champions.
Do you really think they're going to be willing to pay that because of all the bonuses that they're going to have to give out to guys? And also, they're going to probably have to re-sign some, key players that they had last season. How much do you think they were going to give them?
Like 100, like 110 maybe.
110. I can see it. I can see it.
So, I think it'll be more than Edwin Diaz.
Edwin Diaz? Yeah, I was going to say Edwin Diaz money. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see it because Diaz is injured. But I'll just do a few minutes here because I do want to get to my top 5, and I'll let you guys critique that, but I'm always right on my top 5 list. But anyway, where is Shohei going to end up? Showtime is coming to the CR7 podcast, and where I think he's going, I feel like it's pretty obvious. Isn't he going to the Dodgers? I mean, I would think he's going to the Dodgers. I've been saying this literally for 2 years. Cole, I've been saying Shohei Ohtani's going to the Dodgers before I met you. I mean, there really is no other team. I think the Dodgers are going to offer him the most money. They're always willing to pay, and they still have a really good team. They did win 100 games this season without Trey Turner, and I don't believe that the Dodgers are a playoff team. And even if they do sign Ohtani, I don't think that they still are a playoff team because he doesn't have that experience. I just don't think that they're a good caliber team to go win a World Series. They always choke in the bigger moments, and we saw that against the Arizona Diamondbacks. We saw that a few years ago against the Atlanta Braves. I don't think that they really are a good playoff team. I think he will end up with the Dodgers, though, because they will end up, they will try to give him all that money. And also, they're kind of desperate for pitching because they really don't have the the personnel that they used to have.
Especially with Arias.
Yeah, it's true.
And, I mean, you never want to see guys, getting in trouble, man. But that's another topic for another day. Na'Sean, you got anything on Shohei?
If Shohei does go to the Dodgers, it would be good for them because they've won the World Series a few years back. They got Mookie right now. They got rid of Trey Turner. and their pitching is like kind of bad right now. So it would help them out. I don't think he would go over there and be a two-way player though, because he would have to focus on their pitching, and I think it would help them out a lot.
Okay. See, that's interesting. They're saying he's not going to be a two-way player. That's something that I feel like
Because I think that's what he's getting signed for.
Everybody
has their own opinion.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you because I actually think that you could be right on that. I think that they might, play him as a designated hitter as well as a pitcher, but I think he could pitch more.
I think once he gets back from that,
whatever the injury, elbow injury,
UCL or something.
Yeah.
I think he might come out of the bullpen.
You really think so? As a reliever?
I mean, I think I could see him going reliever for multiple innings, but
This was all saying he goes to the Dodgers, but I do want to give a sleeper team. Now, some people are talking about the San Francisco Giants. I don't think he's going to go there.
No.
I just don't see that. I think the Cubs are a real sleeper team.
I was just thinking about that.
I think the Cubs are a real sleeper team because they're trying to win now. Now, owners are stupid like that. They don't like to build to the future. They fire general managers in about 10 seconds. Not general managers, head coaches in about 10 seconds, or managers in 10 seconds just because they're not winning at the current moment in time. But I think the Chicago Cubs are a real sleeper team because they're looking to win now and they're willing to pay. They just paid Dansby Swanson just a year back, and I think they'll be willing to give out around $600 million for Shohei Ohtani.
I think another team, it probably isn't that big of a sleeper. The Mets. I mean, they're always willing to give money to anybody, especially with who was it? Cohen.
Yeah,
Dave
Cohen. That man is that. Can he pay for my tuition?
Yeah.
Please, can he pay?
Dude, he's got a buttload of money. Na'Sean, you got any sleeper teams for Shohei?
Oh man, I don't know really right now. Yeah, I don't really know. Right now I think the Phillies, like he could go. They're not a sleeper team,
okay.
But they're looking for a pitcher like right now. Well, I'm not sure, but based off earlier a little bit, you said talking about pitchers and them re-signing someone else, he could go there, and instead of them re-signing the Nolan person.
Yeah, and I agree a little bit with you because they are losing Rhys Hoskins and a pretty big power bat in Rhys Hoskins and Nola, which they could fill with Shohei Ohtani. But again, money is an issue. So, I mean, obviously up to the GMs, but we will find out in the next coming weeks. Now, we're going to turn it over to Ryan now for the next segment.
Oh yeah, baby. It's time for Sully's Top 5. We're bringing Sully's Top 5 to the CR7 podcast. You already know we got top 5 NFL MVP candidates. We have a redo of my NFL MVP candidates because it didn't really work out and it's not looking too smart as we have crossed the Week 10 mark. But we're going to start out at number 5. We got Tua Tagovailoa. Why? Because he's leading one of the most high-powered offenses in the Miami Dolphins we have ever seen. He's passing the ball really well. He's got Tyreek Hill. He's got Jalen Waddle. He's got Mostert coming out of the backfield. A-Chain's ready to come back. He's got this offensive line around him, and he's using that all to his advantage. What is he, third in the league right now, in passing right now? I got Tua Tagovailoa at number 5. At number 4, I got Tyreek Hill. Why? Now you're going to ask, why is Tyreek Hill above Tua Tagovailoa? Well, because Tua Tagovailoa can throw a 10-yard pass at Tyreek Hill, and he could take it 80 yards up the field. Let's not disrespect Tyreek Hill like that. We all know the speed that the cheetah gives you. I'm going to go to number 3 real quick. I'm going to tell you, it's Lamar Jackson. Why? Because maybe he doesn't have to do as much, because we do understand that the Baltimore Ravens run game is elite, but he is making those accurate throws. We do talk about the interceptions that he did throw to the Cleveland Browns, but the second interception, it was tipped in the air. You can't blame a quarterback for that. That first interception, I'll give you that. It was a bad throw, but he is throwing the ball really well. Receivers are dropping passes, though. There was some stat that he was around 1 for 7 in the fourth quarter. 2 of those were drop passes, and a few of those could have been a touchdown. At number 2, we got Jalen Hurts. Why? Because he's 8-1 this season. Because he's got A.J. Brown. Because he's got Devontae Smith. And he's doing it without Goddard. He's doing it with a banged-up offensive line. He's doing it with a really bad secondary. He's doing doing it with a pass rush that's looking weak right now. And Jalen Hurts is still helping the Eagles win, escaping sacks, making throws to A.J. Brown, who looks like a possible offensive player of the year in himself. Jalen Hurts is number one. I'm sorry, not number one, number two. At number one, the starting quarterback for the Houston Texans, C.J. Stroud. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, C.J. Stroud is the number one MVP candidate as we speak, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the Houston Texans over the past few years have looked like a complete dumpster fire. He has taken a rookie receiver, Tank Dell. He's taken a Noah Brown. He's taken a Dalton Schultz and have elevated them into, not superstardom, but Nico Collins. Cole just pointed it out to me real quick. He has taken these guys and have put their names on the map, and they could be getting contracts real soon. C.J. Stroud, he makes throws on the run. He is the best pure pocket passer in the NFL. You want to know why? Because he just beat Joe Burrow, who I thought was the best pure pocket passer in the NFL. But we have to give it to C.J. Stroud. The throws that he makes in coverage, I actually have a clip for you guys that I have gotten. Look at this. This is during the Bengals game. Now, we only have a minute left. But this is with 8:56 remaining. Now, I'll play this back real quick for you guys. You watch this. Rolls out of the pocket in the second quarter. Rolls out of the pocket, throws across his body, and makes that throw over. Now, I'm going to tell you what's very special about this clip is that he's not throwing on the run, which is something quarterbacks do. They, when they're throwing like that, they just throw on the run and throw across their body. And that could result in an interception. But he stops, he's cool in the pocket, and he makes that beautiful throw over. Also, that throw against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win that game was absolutely incredible. They dropped four guys into the end zone, was able to throw it into double coverage. He is the number one MVP candidate right now. One, because he is great, we do understand that, and also because of the fact that he has taken this Houston Texans team and has elevated them as one of the top teams in the AFC right now. But I've used up pretty much all our time yelling about C.J. Stroud. We do have to go on to the Eagles predictions really quick. Na'Sean, I do want to say thank you for being on the show, but I need you to do me one last thing. Predict the Eagles versus Chiefs game.
The Eagles versus Chiefs. I think it would be a close game. Maybe I'd say like 37-34.
Who you got?
I
got the Eagles.
I got you.
Eagles. All right. So they did verse last year, and the Chiefs did prevail. Or maybe it was 2 years ago. But I got the Eagles 35-28.
I see. I don't see it because of the secondary. Mahomes, I understand that he hasn't played as well in recent weeks. But he's coming off the bye. They're getting healthier. I don't think that the Eagles secondary is going to be able to hand to Travis Kelce. And Taylor Swift is in the crowd, so we all know Taylor Swift is the end-all, the reason the Chiefs win. But I'm going to take the Chiefs in this one. I'll take them 38-31 in this one. I'll take them to prevail over the Philadelphia Eagles. I have doubted the Eagles in past weeks, but they have been able to prove me wrong, but I just don't see it here. I do have the Chiefs winning, but next week we will be back for another edition of the CR7 podcast. Once again, Na'Sean, thank you very much for being on the show.
You're welcome.
All right. You can come back anytime, but we will see you guys next week for the next edition of the CR7 podcast. See you later.